Okay guys, so welcome to Wealth Wizards. It's a talk about investing, and today we're going to learn how to find the intrinsic value of a company. So what is the intrinsic value of a company? The intrinsic value is how much a company should be worth, but it's not the market value of a company. So the market value might be different from what it really should be worth. And if the intrinsic value is over what it's currently worth on the market, then you should invest in it, because the market will likely catch up to the intrinsic value, and then you can make profit. So there are different ways of calculating the intrinsic value of a company. And some of the main ones are the discounted cash flow model, which uses the future cash flows of a company to estimate its worth. Then there's a Gordon growth model, which uses the future dividend growth to estimate it. And there's a dividend discount model, which adds up future dividends. But for today, we're going to be learning about the discounted cash flow model.
How do we know the future? How do we predict it?
So yeah, I'm going to get to that later in the slideshow. Okay, so our focus is the discounted cash flow method. And the discounted cash flow method estimates the value of a company today based on the money it will make in the future. And it predicts the amount of money a company will generate in the next few years and discounts it using a discount rate. So what's a discount rate? A discount rate is a rate at which your money will devalue. So like, for example, would you rather have $100 now or $100 in a month? Of course now, because in a month your $100 will be worth less. Inflation and opportunity costs are two driving factors of this. Inflation causes money to go down over time because since the government prints money, it becomes less and less valuable. And the opportunity cost is the money that you're missing out on by not investing it in a safe security, like a T-bond, which is a loan to the government. So, for example, if you have $100, there's a savings account which pays 5% interest per year. The opportunity cost is $5. And if you don't invest, if you choose to invest in the savings account, you'll have $105 in a year. But if you don't invest, the present value of your $100 is only $95 because you missed out on the opportunity to get $5. So any questions about this? So this is how you calculate discounted cash flow. So for every year, you want to calculate this, like, let's say I want to do it for 5 years. And usually it's done with either 5 years or 10 years. You'll add up each of the years. So this is the cash flow for a specific year. Then it's going to be discounted by the discount rate, which is R. And now I'll show you guys how to estimate the future cash flows. So this is how people estimate it. So first, you get the cash flow for the latest year from a company's earnings report. And then you multiply it by 1 plus growth rate to the power of n. And growth rate, how to estimate it is you can either use the industry growth rate. So for example, if it's like an oil company, you can see the average growth rate of oil companies as the growth rate. Or you can see the company's historical growth rate and use that. And n is the future years from now. And to get the total discounted cash flow, you need to add up all the years that you're doing this for. So now we can get into a practice calculation. So let's say there's a company that has a cash flow from the latest year of $100 per share. And the discount rate is going to be 5%, since there is a T-bond, which is the loan to the government that pays 5% interest. And the growth rate is 10%, because that's the growth rate of Company A's industry. And one share of Company A has a market price of $1,500. So step one of using the discounted cash flow method is to estimate the cash flow in a 5-year period. You can also do it in a 10-year period, but today we're just going to do 5. So since the growth rate is 10%, 1 plus 0.1 is 1.1. So, for example, here, that's going to be the discounted cash flow for the cash flow for the next year. Then year 2 is going to be that, and so forth. So, does anyone have any questions about how these are calculated? Okay. So, step 2 is to discount the cash flow with the discount rate. So to do that, we take these numbers from these years and divide them by 1 plus the discount rate, which in this case is 5%. And so if you add all these up again, then this is going to be the discounted value. So that means that $671 in the future is going to be worth $576 in the present today. And the total discounted cash flow in a 5-year period will be $576. Okay, so step 4 is to calculate the terminal value, which is the sum of the estimated cash flows beyond the projected period. So it's basically all the future cash flows combined. And to do this, a common method would just be taking the cash flow for the final year of your calculation, which is 161, and multiplying it by 15. But then you need to discount this value too. So you discount it by the 1 plus the discount rate to the power of 5, because there's 5 years. And this is the final answer, 1,499.63. And now to get the final intrinsic value of a company, you just need to add the terminal value plus the discounted cash flow. So we have them here, and this is a result, $2,075. So this is the intrinsic value of 1 share of Company A. So do you guys think that this is a good investment?
Yes.
Yeah, because currently it's worth $1,500, and this is more than that. So any questions about how to do any of that? So when you use the discounted cash flow method, there are going to be risks. And the main risks are the estimations. So your estimations for the future cash flows can be inaccurate, or your growth rate estimation can be inaccurate. And because in the future, the company can change and its cash flows can change. So to mitigate this risk, you can use a margin of safety for the calculation. So what a margin of safety is it's a safety net to account for the possible inaccuracies of using this method. And for example, a company can have you can have a margin of safety of 25%. Using the previous example, you can multiply the intrinsic value by itself times the margin of safety. So this is basically subtracting 25% of the intrinsic value from the intrinsic value, and it's going to be $1,556. And even with the margin of safety, this would still be a good investment since this number is more than 1,500. So any questions about this? Okay, that's going to be the end of our meeting for today.